At London, in England, night fulle lange Siden Krist suffride on krosse, and kristendomme stabulde. There was a bishop in that burg, blessed and sacred, Saint Erkenwald, as he hoped that holy man had. In his tomb in that town, the temple alde gratis was drawn down, that one dole to dedifie neu. For het heathen had been in hengest dawes, that the Saxons unsett hadden senderhude. They better out the Bretons, and brought home into Wales, and perverted all the people that in that place dwelled. Then was this realm renide moni ronke yeres. Till Saint Austin into Sandewike was sende fro the Pope. Then preked he hereth the poor fight, and planted the troth, and converted alle the communantes to Christendom neu. He turned temples that team that turned to the devil, and cleansed home in Christes nome, and kirkes home called. He hurled out her ödels, and had him in saintes, and changed cheuli her nomes, and charged him better. That era was of Apollyon, is now of Saint Petre, Mahone to Saint Margrethe, Othir to Magdalene. The synagogue of the sun was at to Our Lady, Jupiter and Juno to Jesus, Othir to James. So her hom dedifiet and dyrt alle to der halloes, that was set of Satanas in Saxones döme. Now that London is neunet, hatte the new Troje, the metropole and the meestertown hit ewer more has been. The mekul Münster therein a machty deuel acht, and the title of the temple beaten was his name. For he was drüchten, derest of ödels preuset, and the solemnness of his sacrifices in Saxon lands. The third temple, it was told of Triapolitanes, by alle Bretanes bonkers were but Othir twain. Now of this Augustinus art is Erkenwald a bishop, at lower London town, and the lager ages, sutte semely in the seie of Saint Paul Münster, that was the temple Triapolitan, as he told Are. Then was it abated, and beaten down, and böjed efter neu, en nobly note for the nones and neu werke hit hatte. Mony a merry mason was made there to work, harde stones for to hewe with eget dolles. Moni grupper in grete the grund for to setje that the fundament on first should the fote halde. And as they makede and murnede, a merwele they funden, as yet in crafty chronicles is kude the memoria. Afore as they died and dalvas who deeper into the earth, they funden formed on a floor a fairly fire tomb. It was a throne of thick stone through andly heaven, with gargoyles garnished about alla of grey marbre. The sperle of the spelunke that sparde hit og lofte was medley made of the marbre, and menneskefully planede, and the border embellished with bright gold letters, but roinische were the reasons that there on row stoden. Fulle verrei were the veguris per avskyde hommoni, but alle musset hit to mote and quat hit mene skylde. Moni klarkes in that close, with krones full broad, there besit hom about night to bringe hom in wordes. When tiefenges token of the tone of the tomb wander, many hundred hende men hiede vidersone. Burges båhit verdo, bedels ande återe, und many mesters mon of manners diverse. Ladders laften hor werke, and lepen thidewardes, ronnen radly in road, with rugande noitje. There komen thider of alle kunne so kenly money, that as alle the world were thider wallen witten a honde quila. Quanthe meier would husmønje that muraile aspide, be a sent of the sextene, the sanctuary thy captain, bede unlock the lid, and lay it beside. Thy would look on that lome quad lunged within. We at werkemen would that wenten fertil, putten prieses thereto, pinched one under, kachten by the corners with crowes of ørene, and where the ludde neir so lage, they lied hit by zone. But then was wonder to wala on ways that stoden, that might not come to know a quansie strange. So was the glode within guy, all with gold pointed, and a blissful bode upon the bottom luyed, a rider on a rike wiese in real wedes. All with glistenande gold his gown was hemmed, with many a precious pearl picket thereon, and a girdle of gold begripped his mødele, a mekke mantel on loft with mønje for it, the cloth of Cameron full clean with comely bordures, and on his coif was cast a coron full rike, and a semely scepter set in his hand. All swemless were his weathers, without an any tetje, or their of mulinga, or their of motes, or their of mort freden. And alls bright of hår bli in blusnande heues, as they hadde jepli in that jorde binne yesterday schapen. And alls freshe de fatje, and the flesh naked, be his erres, and be his hondes that openly shewed, with ronke roda as they rose, and two red lippes, as he in sunde suddenly were slipped upon sleep. There was spedeles spatche to spur, on author, quat body it might be that buried was there. How longer had he there lain, his lair so unkaunged, and all his wede unvummet, thus ulke were asked, It might not be but suke man in munde ståde lange. He has been kunge of this kita as kutli it semes. He løyes doluen thos debe het is et derfe wunder, but some sage could say that he himsene hadde. But that ilkenote was nacht van norne none kute. No thir be title, ne token, ne bitali no thir, that ever was bright in burge, ne in boke notede, that ever munnet sukeman, more ne lasse. The bodeworde to the bishop was brought on a quile, of that buried the body all the bold wonder. The primate with his prelatia was parted from home. In Essex was Sir Erkenwald in Abbey to visit. Dulke stolden him the tile with trouble in the people, on such a cry about a course cracked ever more. The bishop sende hit to Blune, be bedels and letters, and the busket thither warte be team on his blonke after. Be that he come to the curricula of St. Paul. Money hem metten on that meer, them erweil to tell. He passed into his palace, and pace he commanded, and they waited for the dead, and did the door after. The derke night over drove, and die bell rung, and Sir Erkenwald was up in the earthen then, that well nigh all the night had nighted his hours to beseche his sauron of his swete grace, the vuce safe to rewele him hit be a vision or elles. Thage I be unworthy, alve banner he sired thur his de de bonerte. Dinje hit mi lorde, in konfirmige de kristen feite, fullsen med to kenne the mysterie of this meruele that men upon wondres. And so long he grete after grace that he grounte hadde an answer of the Holy Ghost, and afterward hit David. Münster doors were marked open when matins were sungen. The bishop, whom shope solemnly to sing the heie masse, the prelate in pontificals was prestly adurd. Mannerly would his ministers the masse he begunnes, of Spiritus Domini for his spede on subtile vise. What queme questes of the quere, with full, quiet notice. Mony a guy great lord was gathered to Erkenwald, as the rekenest of the reame repairen thither of the till Chesut was the service and sound the latter end. Then hulded fro the outer, alle the heie gunge, the prelate passed on the plown per pliet to him lordes, as rike rewested as he was rauked to the tombe, men unclosed him the cloister with kustrede geiers, but Pune was with the great breche that passed him after. The bishop come to the buriness him barnes besøgde, the mayor with many mighty men and marchers before him. The dene of the der place dauset all on first, the fundige of that fairly would funger him unde. Lo lordes, quoth that lady, such a luche herre is, has line loken herre on loche, how long is unknown. And yet his color and his cloth has quite no default. Ne his lyre, ne his lome that is loud in. There is no lady upon løfe of so long age, that may mene in his munde that such a man regnet, no nother his nome, ne his note norne of one speke. Qua ceremony porrer in his place is put in de grave, dat merket is in martelage his munder for eeuwig, and we have library lighted these long 7 hours, but ohne chronicler of this kunge kun we never funde. He has non line here so long, to loke hit by kunde to Malta, so out of memoria, but meruele it were. To south, quoth the sage that sacred was bishop. It is meruele to men that mountes too little, toward the providence of the prince that paradise weldes quen whom luste to unloke the last of his miters. But quen mated his monnus meut and his munde passede, and all his reasons are to rent and redeless his stondes, then let us hit him full little to loose with a finger that alle the hundes under heaven halde might never. There as creatures crafta of counsel autos varues, the comfort of the creature behuis the curitake. And so do we know our deed, do we no fear. To sage the south at ourself, ye sether no bote. But glow we alle upon God, and his grace ask that Careles is of counsel and comfort to send, and that in fasting of your fight, and the fune believe. Ye shall weigh so verily of virtues his, that ye may live upon longer that he is Lord möte ye, and found your talent to fulfill if ye him friend leves. Then he turns to the town, and talkes to the court. Lyftande up his eyelids, he losed suge vordes. Now look at me, that there lies, line thou no longer. Suthen Jesus has jugit to die his joy to be shared, bear thou bone to his bode, I bøde in his behalf. As he was bender on a bema, quan he his blood shed, as thou it was witterly, and where it well eleven, answere Herre, to me salve, counsele no trote. Siden where what not, quoth thou art, vitere, us thisselven in world, quat wege thou was, and cui thou thus lies. How longer thou hast laun, Herre, and quat lage thou uset. Whereper art thou joined to joy, of their rugit to pain. When the sage had the side, and sucket thereafter, the breit bode in the burgenes breit the little, and would a drema he dreies uit de wordes, through some gokste land løfe of him that all redes. Bishop, quoth this ilke bode, the bode is medere. I may not bot bohe to the bone for both mun en. To the name that thou nøgnet has, and nørnet me after. All heaven and hell helde stå, and earth between. Durst du sæthe the sothe, quo myself vere, one the unhapnes tatel, that ewer on erde jode. Ne wer kunge, ne kauser, ne jet, no nøyt, no thøre, but a lede of the lare, that then this londe uset. He was committed, and made a meestermon here, to sutte upon saut causes. This sitte I, gjemmed under a prince of barge of peinemeslage, and uche sege that him sevide the same feite trouet. The lengte of my løyinger here, that is a lewit that it is to match to animon the mark of an umbre. After that Brutus this burge had bøyet on første, nooit but 500 jere verachtene wanted before that kunnet your Christe by Christen accounte, 1000 jere and 30 mo and øyet thrennen ach. He was of heire and of øyer, in the new trøye, in the regne of the rike kunge that ruled us then. The bolde Breton, Sir Berunge was his brother. Money owner was the busmare boden hom between, for who rockfull where quill or wrath lasted. Then was he juge herre, en øynet, en gentil laue. Quill he in spelunke, thus spake, they sprang in the people in all this world, no word, ne waknet, no noise. But all as still as the stone stoden, and listonde would match wonder for rust, and weapet full money. The bishop biddes that bode, beknoe the cause, sithen thou was kid, for no kunge, qui thou the crown weres, qui haldest thou so here in hand the sceptre, and hadest no londe of legemen, ne leaf, ne lum artes. There sir, quoth the dead bode, there's they, think. All was it never me will, that wrought thus it were, he was deputate and domesmon under a duke noble. And in me poor, this place was put all together. He used the feet, this jolly tone, on gentil wise, and they were in form of good fight, more than 40 winter. The folke was felons, and false and frode to reule. He hand harmes full ofte to hold home to read. But for water, ne welle, ne rate, ne drede, ne for mestrie, ne for mede, ne for monnes ahe, I remevit newe from the reet berisen mun auen, for to dresse rang dome no day of mø løwe. Det klønnet never mi conscience for courtesy on erte, in no gunfull jugement, no japes stomake. Bare renke, never så rike for røyren sake, ne for no månes mannes, ne mestkjef ne raude. Nån jet hemme fra det heie jat, tog lent ut av røyd, als verforste as me fight conformed me herd. Sache had been me fader bone, I bed hem no ranges, ne fals fiwer to me fader, sache fell him to be honored. And for he was ritwis and reckon and ready of the lage, when he died, for duldenøyd alle tre. Alle mennud me dette, the more andelasse, and thus to bone to me bode thy buried in golde, Laden med for det kortest dat korte kort benholder. En mantel for det mekest and monlokest on benke. Gorden med for det goenår and graudist av trøy. Forred med for det funnest av fight med gutene. For det honor av mun honeste av heiest, den prise de koronud med det kidde kunga av kene justices, der eiver was trånid in trøye av der trauid eiver skylde. En for I rewardid eiver rit, de rart meg, det septre. The bishop bowed his him, yet word bale at his heart, thage men mennesket him so. How hit might word that his clothes were so clean. En clothes me thunkes hom borde hei rotted und benne rent in rates longe søden. Fi både mau vin barmeid. Hit bashis mi nacht that hit thar røye, ne råte, ne no ronke wormes, bot the color ne the klode. Inno visa how hit might lie by monnes lore and last so long. Now, bishop, quoth that bode, en baumet was I neighbor, ne no monnes kunsele, mø klate has kept unwemmet. But the rike kunga of reason that read eiver allowes and Lewis all the lawes leilu that longen to traud. Und moste I menneskes men formunnie of readers, pen for all the meritorie medes that men on molde husen. And the frankes for read dus me arrived has, he has land me to last that lowest rate. Best. Yeah, but soust thou of the soul, then sound the bishop. Quere is ho stablid and stadde, if those so straight rochtes. He that rewardes uke, a renkas he has reached ruid, möit eivel forgo to gif of his grace summe braunke. For as he saus and his soth psalmide rides, the skillfulle and the unskathli skelten all to me. For the salme of the soul, in sele quere hovones, and of the rika restorement that right höre our Lord. Then hummed he that there lau, and his head wired, and jefe e gronig full great, and to God saude. Mautu maker of men, the möchtes a great. How might the mercy to me amount entertain? As I a paunem unprest that never the bleat a knewe, ne the mesura of the mercy, ne the mecul vertue. But I, a freak, fightless, that fouled the lies, and ever thou, Lord, was loyet in. Alas, the hard astoundes, He was none of the number that thou with nigh bartest with the blood of the body upon the blow road. When thou herjedes helle håle and hentes the route, the løfinge out of limbo thou laftest mig there. Und there sittes my soul, that sem ein of fura, Duinand in the derke death that doitas ora father, Adam ora alder that ate of that apple, that money a pleitels people has poisoned for ever. Ye were entooked with his tete and took in ye ljote, but mended with a medicane ye armade for to løye, that is full in fonte with blissful belewe. And that han we miste alle merciless myself and my soul. Quat when we would our well dead that rochten I read, when we are dampned dulfully into the day black and exhaled from that supper so that solemne fest there richly it arned refeited that after read hungered. My soul may sit there in sorrow and seek full cold, dumbly in that there death there thou is never morrowen. Hungrier in wood helle hole, and herken after meles long ho that supper ye, other sage her to laugh. Thus dolefully this dead body deuset hit sorrow, that alle wept for woe the wordes that herden. And the bishop bale full bæred on his egen, that hadde no spatche to speke så spakli he jusket. Till he tok him et dom, and to the tombe locked, to the like per hit lau with laund teres. Ura Lord Lene, quoth that lady, that thou løfe hades by Goddes lewe, as long as I might lack water and cast upon the fire course and carpe this wordes. I follow they in the Father nome and his free childes and of the gracious Holy Ghost, and not one grue lenger. Then though thou dropped dundade, it downgerde melasse. Would that word that he warped the weight of ein and teres trilled doon and on the toon lichten, and one fella on his face and the freke søkt. Then said he with a sad son, Ur say your beloved, now headed be thou heye God, and the hender moder, and blessed be that blissful ure that thou the bear in. And also be thou, bishop, the boat of my sorrow, and the relief of the lordly lures that my soul has laid in. For the words that thou werpe, and the water that thou sheddest, the bright born of thine egen, my baptism is worthen. The first slent that on my slode slecked all my tene. Right now, to supper, my soul is set at the table, for would the words and the water that wash us of pain, litly lashet there alema låg in the abme. That spakly sprent my spirit with unsparet morte, into the kenakle solemtly there supen alliterative. And there marchale her mette, would menneske alder gratist, and would reverence a realm he right her forever. Ye hear thereof, my high God, and also they, bishop, Frobale has brought us to bliss, blessed thou wert. What this chesed his sound, soud he no more, but suddenly his sweet chair swounded and failed, and all the blade of his body was black as the moulders, as rotten as the rottock that reases in powder. For as soon as the soul was cessed in bliss, corrupt was that other craft that covered the bones. For they all last on the leaf that later shall never, the wides uts a wine glory that whiles so little. Then was lying our Lord with loves, upholden, much mourning and mirth was melded together. They passed forth in procession, and all the people followed, and all the bells in the burg buried at honors.